Hey y'all, it's been a minute, huh? It has been probably about 2 months since the last time I made a video or anything like that, and a large part of that is because I've just been, doing life stuff, all kinds of stuff, holidays, just really giving myself time to not be under the pressure of having to make something every time. I recently got a new asset pack and I'm going to be doing a full review of it. That video may be up already, but in this video, I wanted to do a full process of making a couple scenes that I want to make for that video. And since this is a Arctic based pack, I figured I'd do something inspired by John Carpenter's The Thing. So let's just jump right into Blender and make these scenes. I'm using 4.3.1, and I went ahead and kind of painstakingly made these assets into the asset browser. So by default, and you'll see this in the review, they are not in the asset browser, which for me is like a kind of a big hit. I really like it when asset packs, especially when there's like a ton of assets, come asset browser ready. So first thing I'm going to do is actually go into the preferences and change the texture limit size down to probably 256 for now. And then when I render it, I'll increase it because the textures by default are 4K. And for me, with my 3080 Ti, I feel like it's a pretty high-end graphics card, but it just completely eats the VRAM. So I'm going to stick to a pretty low texture size while I build out the scene. And then when I go into render it, I will increase the texture size at least to 2K or something like that. So I personally don't like making really long videos, but I just can't seem to get around the fact that if you're learning artwork or if you want to know how somebody made something, it's really important to see the full process, because sometimes I will just fiddle with something endlessly because I'm stuck, or because I am running out of ideas, or because I'm just kind of like burnt out on making progress and I need a little break and I don't realize it. In this instance, I'm going to talk about how I set up like my idea for setting up the environment light and what I want to do with it, but you'll see that I don't end up really sticking to that. And I think as vulnerable as it is to show that this is something a lot of artists go through, it's very common. Not everyone gets it right on the first go. You kind of put down the mark and you're like, never mind, I don't like that. So you'll see me doing that throughout this video, and I really wanted to include that because I think those types of things are really valuable, not only because they're validating to newer artists who feel like they can't get it right the first time, but it's also just very normal. It's part of the process, and sometimes you got to try something to realize that it's not working or it's not the right step you want it to go, and then you just have to iterate and make adjustments to your work as you work through it. So hopefully that kind of explains it, and I hope you do watch the full video because you'll see a lot of those moments throughout the video, because if you just see the end product, you don't really know all of the stuff that goes into it. And I think sharing that and being able to learn that is like really valuable. So first thing I'm going to do is just set up the background of my scene, and for that I'm going to be using the Physical Starlight Atmosphere add-on, I guess. I'm using the Earth 3 preset, and then I kind of went through and just brought down the sun, so the vertical of the sun here, bringing it down so that it's kind of this like very late night or like early night. I also brought down the atmosphere density so that you could see more of the stars, and if it's kind of like in the Arctic, I'm imagining like not as much atmosphere there. So that's why I did that. And then I added the object fog to auto because I'm going to be doing some like really heavy volumetrics. I turned off the ground because I just don't want to bother with it. Like, it's really dark, and I'm imagining if I do any like low horizon shots, it'll be there. I'd rather have it be not there and have me control where the ground is. And then for the artistic controls here, the fall off, if you increase that a little bit, you can kind of adjust the horizon so that it's a little bit of a stronger gradient from the stars down to the to the atmosphere, or you can decrease the fall off and it's a lot there's like almost a lot more light kind of coming in from the horizon. So I kind of want something still a little bit hazy, but not too much. Okay, so I think that looks good. So I have some ideas in mind. The first one is do like a basic establishing shot so that you see some of the buildings, you see the environment, and you get an idea of like what the setting is. And like from that establishing shot, I want to give the sense that something's wrong. So see the Arctic base. You see it's like really foggy. Maybe there's a bunch of snow, and there is already kind of something wrong, like an alarm going off or like a siren kind of flashing or something like that. Just gonna start dropping some buildings in. So here I have buildings, environments for like the landscape, hero building. So these are the core buildings. So I will just bring in this logistics center. I don't want to bring in too many because I want to kind of create a bit of limitation in what I have to play with. I don't want to have like too many options. So first I'm going to drag in this logistics center. All right, that's pretty big. All right, that looks great. And I have it as an instance, and that's because it will just be easier to kind of load. So like once it gets brought in, all the textures load in, everything like that looks good. I'm not going to be doing too much like adjusting. I just want to work with the assets as they are. So let me go to gray box mode. Let's see. Let me increase the size of these so I can see them a little bit better. I like this with this kind of polar lab. I think it looks cool. It's got like windows here. So if I go into 3D view and go inside one of these windows, here we go. Yeah, you can kind of see, it's hard to see, but there is an interior inside of these windows. So if I go into wireframe mode, you can see like this is the window here. And through the window, there is a room. So kind of a cool detail. You don't always get this with packs. This is actually the first time I've seen it with an asset pack like this, but it's a really thoughtful detail to include. So we have our building. Let me just place them on the ground. So then we can have like, I'm gonna rotate this to face that thing so that it looks like it's connected somewhat. Maybe I'll try to find a place. I'll try to find like an easy way to connect it. It doesn't have to like make a bunch of sense. It just has to kind of look like something. Maybe I'll put it here like that. And then I think there's some assets here that are like ladders and steps and stuff. Yeah, like if I put like a ladder here, I think it'll close that off in a good way. So I'm gonna drop this ladder in here. Just put it right there. Just enough to kind of make sense a little bit on like how somebody would get down from there. Okay, so that's there. And I like this dish. This is a big like radar dish that comes with the asset pack. I really like this a lot. So I'm gonna stick this somewhere not too far, but not too close. So that, and this might be something that I have to make not an instance so that I can animate it just a little bit. Let's see, let's grab some of these other like modular kits, like this modular station or something in here. I do like this radar station here. Just kind of placing it in a way that feels like nothing's too far apart from each other and it's all accessible. I like this one too. It feels like a little house. Yeah, okay. So there's like a center, there's a house looking thing, like a place for them to go to. Same thing here, a radar, and then this like lab that they would all go into and do work in and stuff. Cool. I think that works. And then having like this kind of core dish somewhere not too far but nearby. All right, cool. I think that like works for now. I'm gonna throw in a couple of the environments. So this pack comes with these like snowy hills, and they're all, I think, like somewhat to scale. So if I drag and drop, yeah, it's like gigantic, but at least it gives us like enough to create the environment in, or at least like if I'm going for like an environmental shot, an angle, I can go with something. I might have to add a plane here, and then this will be the floor, and then on the floor I can drag and drop one of these materials. Just drag and drop this snow. Let's see how that looks. All right, so this is not looking too bad actually, just right off the bat. You know, we're getting at least some idea of what everything looks like. Kind of have this clip through there, and let's see some of the other things I can bring in. Cool. See that work? That works. Like, give it a little bit of a spray. I was worried this one would be huge, but it doesn't seem too big. Trying to see if I can just like get it to work with this environment, but I just don't think it's gonna make sense. They wouldn't build like this, you know, lab on a super unstable ground. Maybe I'll just use it to kind of like surround it like that instead. Let me try a different texture for this. Yeah, I think that looks a little bit better. Just kind of matches a little bit. Maybe this. Aha, that one matches the best, I think. Yeah, that one's like seamless. All right, cool. That's perfect. I really like that they included the terrain here, because that just really helps you jump right into making a scene and not having to worry about like just not having enough stuff. I like that. It's a plus in my book. So maybe I'm gonna drop a camera in here and start flying around. I want to get maybe like I want to get maybe like a shot like this where it's coming like right over the dish. So maybe this won't be the place where I put the dish. Maybe it'll be somewhere further away. Maybe it'll be like here. So then it can feel like it's, you know, like maybe there's no reason to have it so close. It's something that needs to be far away in order to like whatever, not interfere with their equipment or something. So that, and then we can start with the dish. I really like the detail in the modeling here, so like we have a lot to play with. I'm gonna go for a little bit of a more wide angle, like a cinematic lens. And then for the camera, I'm just gonna increase the pass per toe. So that we don't see the outside. Okay, like that. Okay, so we can start here. We can kind of like pan up. I really want to do these like slow pan up. If you've seen my other videos, you'll know that I'm a big fan of these like really simple camera movements, because I really think that you don't really need to go super wacky dynamic with the camera. You can go simple and still communicate a lot, especially for a scene like this where I want it to be like this eerie, something, you just discovered something is wrong. Do like a pan up like this or something. Yeah, and I like this light here. That's actually cool. I didn't notice that the first time. I might need to increase the camera, the focal length. Let's do 120. All right, that looks good. Ooh, yeah, that's cool. We can start like here. And I kind of want the thing in the foreground, like the dish, for you to not even know what is in the foreground, because it's going to be mostly dark. So I want you to not know what exactly you're looking at in the foreground. So let me jump out here. I'm just gonna move this kind of on a rail. Yeah, maybe we can kind of do like one of these. Let me keyboard. Let me cook. Maybe I'll just do like a simple pan up here. You know, just a really simple, kind of like one of these, like pan up establishing shots. Yeah, I think I might do that. And I might, if this is the shot I'm going to end on, I might move the dish also. And some of this stuff to match like the background that I need. Yeah, that kind of closes off the background. Okay. Yeah, I'll go with that. So let me pull up the timeline real quick here. Oh, don't want to do that. I'm just gonna space out the stuff in the timeline. I'll do 24 frames a second, and that'll be 240, so it'll be like 10 seconds. Okay. Let me go into the simplified view. Okay, so I'll do camera like this. Maybe move it over some. Yeah. Just trying to get like the ending shot that I'm happy with. I think that'd be good. Maybe even like this. Yeah, I kind of want to capture everything. Okay, so that will be the shot there. I'll go to the beginning and I'll just bring it down. Okay, then I'm gonna hit A, make that a vector. So it's a very slow. Yeah. I might want it to reach here sooner, and I'm gonna make this last frame a automatic. So it starts and then slows down and then kind of holds there. So this is like a linear and it goes into a curve. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I think this looks okay. Yeah, this is just the establishing shot. Now that I have this shot set, I'm gonna make this instance real. So F3, make instance real. And you can see that really unpacks it. Now we have all of our lights, and I'm just gonna box select this whole thing and put it into a collection. So it's organized, all right. And I am going to take these lights, these actual area lights, and then parent them to this dish so that when I rotate the dish, it moves with it. So Control P, parent to object. And now all I gotta do is I gotta make sure that this rotates on the correct axis, which is down here. And to do that, I am going to go into edit mode for this face. And I guess that's it. That should be enough. I'll set the location of the cursor there. And with the dish selected, I'm gonna right click, set origin to 3D cursor. So that's there. So as long as I rotate on the X, now it's rotating exactly where it needs to. So now I just gotta find a good position to rotate it at. I can rotate it down like that. Looks like there is a kind of like a limit here to how much it makes sense to rotate it. So I'll do that, and this, and this. So I want to make sure the origin for this rotation is in the middle. So I'm just gonna find kind of like a middle spot. Let's see if I can go inside here. Okay. Can I select this? Okay. Cannot select that. Okay. So I guess I can select that and then say cursor here. Select this rotation thing. Right click, origin to 3D cursor. So I'll select both of them and rotate them. Oh, I see. It's not, doesn't exactly work that way, does it? It's not like centered, I guess. Does that make sense? No, it doesn't. I'll just rotate it on the 3D cursor. Then that should be in the middle. Yeah, okay, that works. So if as I start to rotate, you can't really see it here. So I wonder if that's something I can just artificially do. Oh, I just realized that the lights didn't come with it. What? I'm so confused. I thought, oh, wait, what are these lights? Wait. I guess there's just extra lights. Maybe I duplicated them? I'm not really sure. Part of me making these scenes is learning this pack and kind of figuring out how this pack works. What does it feel like for me to work with it? So you're not gonna, you might see a couple things that look, that show me kind of fumbling a little bit. And that's just because this is kind of like the first big scene I'm making with this pack. Okay, so I can't seem to get the dish to be low enough. So maybe I can try adjusting where the camera ends. If I rotate the, oh, aha. If I just bring it up a bit. Yeah. Kind of want to make the dish seem like it's framing the shot a little bit better, so I might move it to the right. Maybe I'll scale it down a bit. Okay, I think that's okay. That kind of frames it nicely. And this I will move to fill out the background. Okay. This I might also bring a little bit closer. Move this one to the left. There we go. And then this also somewhere. Just like filling out the background, filling out the what we see. And it's okay. This is like a demo scene. It doesn't have to nothing, no, the continuity for, in my opinion, is not like a major thing. It just needs to look cool. So yeah, I'll increase the scale so that it goes a little bit over this item here, this unit, so it's not like creating a tangent. Okay, I can bring this closer. Maybe I could even bring this in. Yeah. And this will be like the background. Okay, that looks cool. I like that more. It's like slopes and stuff. Okay. So where's our camera? Gonna make that just in case. Okay. I'm gonna make it stop a little bit sooner, like here. Okay. All right, so let me just see how that looks. I'm gonna save this. Let's see how that looks. I'm using Eevee. I think the final I'll do in cycles. Or no, I think I am using cycles. Uh-oh, looks like my GPU is out of memory. That sucks, because I thought that lowering the texture size would have helped with that, but I wonder if it somehow didn't. Let me check. Yeah, it's like a lot lower. So I'm not really sure why I did that, because I thought that would help. That's a bummer. So yeah, that's one of the, I think one of the downsides. I think that because the textures themselves in the files are just, they're 4K, so I think it's just eating up my video memory really quickly. So I'm gonna close this and try to reset, and hopefully it'll be fine. All right, so I ended up having to restart, and I just turned off the physical starlight add-on because I think that might have been bogging my system down. I also switched to CPU instead of GPU. Now that seems to be a little bit more stable here in the device settings. And then I just used a simple HDRI for the background lighting. I think that gave me a lot more of an even lighting that I was looking for without needing to do too many complex things with like lighting and all that. A lot of the lighting is going to be coming from like the buildings themselves. So there's going to be a lot of this like artificial lighting from the buildings, and that's going to be setting the tone. The lighting for the environment just needs to be like a very neutral, snowy, overcast type of lighting. So I'm okay with using like a really simple wintry, cloudy HDRI from Polyhaven. Okay, so I'm also spending a little bit more time in this initial build out of the base, because once I have the base built and the scene set how I want, then I can go in with the camera and just get the rest of my shots. So the very first time you make the scene, always going to take the most amount of time. And then once the world is kind of built, then you can just play within it. So here we are. I turned up all the lights inside of this building. I had to take this logistics center and make the instance of it real, so that I can get access to all of the lights and everything. And I noticed that a lot of the lights that are in this model are mostly interior. So there is some very basic kind of like interiors here, which is good because you can see, like, if I zoom in here, you can see there's like lights coming out of the windows, which is a really nice detail to have. There's like these overhead drop ceiling lights inside, but not a lot of lights on the outside. So I'm gonna do a little bit of starting that kind of dramatic, something's going wrong here. And I'm gonna start with these lights outside, these overhead lights. I'm just gonna make them red because that's, I think that'll kind of give us that initial red glow that something is wrong. So I'm gonna find the emission for that, and I'm gonna just change it to red, and hopefully that will do something. It can be, keep that white. I'm gonna change it to like a reddish color, just like increase it a bunch. Okay. So I increased it a lot. I think that's helping, but it's not giving me like the red light that I want. It's giving like a nice bit of red everywhere, which makes it seem like alarming, but it's not red enough for me. So I'm going to go into edit mode for this, set the cursor here, and just add a light. So I'm gonna go into light, add an area light, and I'll make this red. So then I can really get that, that dramatic look. I'll kind of point it out, scale it to the size of the light a little bit. Okay. I'll bring the spread in. I don't need it to be, I want it to kind of look more like a cone. So I'm gonna kind of tilt it down like that. Just place it somewhere here. Hidden, but enough that it is like scattering onto the environment. Maybe I'll put it here so that it looks like it's coming off of that post. Yeah. And then there's a nice bit of like separating with this post in the foreground and then the light there. So that's good. I'll just leave that like that. And then when I animate this, I'm gonna be making that light like flash or something. So I'll put one there and I'll put another one by the other door. So I'm just kind of moving it over this way. Put it here. So you don't really see the light, but you can kind of assume that there's a light there. So those two are connected. I want a couple floor lamps, like those kind of floodlights that you have, like, if you're doing like road work or whatever, like the stuff that you see. And I want to kind of have maybe a couple like around here to fill out the space. So I'm just going to duplicate the light I have here. I'm going to turn it from red to white. And then I'm just going to like 90 degree and then drop it down. So that it looks like they had maybe some like, like if they were outside, they needed some lights to light the area or light like the ground so that they could see it. So I'm gonna kind of stick it on the corner here. So then it's lighting that space. I do want to tilt it down some. Maybe I'll even kind of elevate it a little bit more. So just want to like bring your attention into this area over here on the right. I want to bring your attention there. So that's how I'm setting up this light. And I might increase it to be like really bright white. Yeah. Yes, that's better. That's better. Okay. All right, that's good. And then I'll take that and duplicate it and bring it somewhere else. Maybe stick it like over here. I want to cast these long shadows across the floor, these like long scattered shadows, so that it seems like maybe a light got knocked over. It makes it a little bit more scary, I think, more spooky. Also, I think because I just saw Nosferatu, that movie had a lot of really good light and shadow play. That movie did a really good job of using shadows and strong lights and strong shadow, like using long shadows and strong lights and really minimal lighting to give you to kind of sell the atmosphere in a really good way. So I really like that. So I'm just trying to kind of capture that same feeling here. I can bring down the spread of the light too to really like make it like a flashlight. Then like putting it behind the structure will attract your eye to this area because it's kind of casting light through this area and there's like shadows and stuff. So I like that, kind of like here. Might go with that. I want a couple area lights just like on structures, and then I want to maybe like 1 or 2 lights that are very clearly just have been knocked down or something. So having a light here looks good, and this also brings attention to this area in a nice way. I'm just gonna bring out the spread a little bit. That's too much. Do like 90. So that looks good. Then there's like a good focus on this spot right here. I'm gonna try to art direct the lighting a little bit more so it's not just, so it's kind of feels like it's pointing to something and not just, you know, not nothing, not like arbitrary. If I can help guide your eye a little bit with the lighting, tell the story, or kind of make you look at a specific place more, I think that would help a lot. So here, you know, there's like a really harsh light at the corner, and there's something down here. So it feels like the lights are there for a reason, and they are introducing the story and telling you where to look. So it's kind of two things that the lights are doing. And that's, I think, a good tip you could take with you when you're working on the lighting in your scenes. Is that something to think about? Is the lighting, does it feel natural? Does it feel realistic? And does it also guide the viewer, or does it tell the story that you're trying to tell? Or is it getting in the way? Because you kind of have all the control there. If it's getting in the way, then you can just turn the light off or remove it. But if you need help, or like you need assistance into lighting, like like if you want the person to go here or to look here, then the light there will be strong. Even if it doesn't make sense, it still kind of works. But if you can also make it make sense, then that's even better. So I'm just looking to where I can put this last light. I can maybe put it off screen, like somewhere here off screen. Especially if it's off screen, you can really get away with stuff because, you know, the audience doesn't know that there's nothing here that the light can be attached to. So you can really use off-camera things to your advantage. I kind of like the light just barely catching here, so that you can kind of start to see the shape a little bit better. But I don't know if this will work. Like that, yeah, because I don't want, when the light was here, you see how the light is catching this spot right here? I could move the model, but I like where everything is, so I'd rather move the light. So I'm gonna take the light and then just bring it forward so that it still lights up that corner, but it doesn't light up that side. And the reason I don't like it lighting up that side is because I want your attention to stay in the middle of the frame. I don't want there to be any bright things at the very edge of the frame that could lead your eye off the frame, if that makes sense. Okay, cool. So I have some lights. I may add one more light over here, or like a couple lights just on the dish. But I kind of like how silhouetted it is. So instead, I want to separate this this lab from the background a little bit more. So I'm going to take this light here, duplicate it, and try to find a spot for it somewhere here where it's either casting light onto the polar lab, or there's like just a light breaking up that spot. I think there's too many lights focused here, so I don't want it pointing that way. There's enough for you to look here already. I just need to maybe bring a light here, kind of like on this edge. And let's see, does that make sense? There's a light here already, so that does make sense. And you do kind of want to light up this if there's a lot of activity here, and there's like it seems like a very busy place to be with like the ladders and these intersections. So maybe we keep the light there and we just let it light the kind of like walkways and stuff below here, and it lights up this edge, and that edge separates it from the background in a nice way. So I think this works. I might increase the spread just a little bit, just so there's a little bit more like spreading here, and it's hitting that. And if we decrease the spread here, if we make it like 20, then it becomes a lot sharper, which can be an artistic choice. So now there's like a really strong spotlight. You can see this specific spot is being hit directly with all of that energy and all of that light. But if we disperse it, if we spread it out a little bit more, then we can see more of that light hitting there. So I think that right now it's hitting too many things, and this is getting very, very busy. So I'm gonna see if I can find an amount where it's hitting that area, it's creating that separation, but it's not hitting too many things. Maybe I need to turn it a little bit away towards this ramp or towards these ladders. Yeah, I think that looks a little bit better, right? Like, even though this is a small detail and most people are not going to notice it, but this foreground railing is darker than the background railing, and that helps create that contrast separation. Maybe I'll turn the light even more so that it's more up here and less down here. Somehow that looks worse. Yeah. Okay. I think I'm going to go with that. Yeah, like it looks complicated, but at least there's some more visual separation there through color and contrast. Okay, so we have some red lights here. I might dim this light just a little bit because I think that it's competing with the red. It's like taking too much attention away from the red. And either I'll dim it or I'll also just like maybe bring it down here. Let me see if I can do something with it. Maybe I can turn it. Just kind of seeing where else it makes sense to put this light. The way that the camera angle is looking at it, it's doing a really good job separating this beam from the background because the background is lighter. So I don't really need the light there. Here it gets a little bit lost with that background scaffolding. So maybe having the light just shine down on that pole makes it a little bit, helps it. I'm not sure yet. I am doing a lot of exploration here. But I wanted to include everything about how I'm thinking, what I'm thinking about for you guys to learn, because I think, oh, this is good. This looks good. I like this. Even though there's a light here, it doesn't really explain like where that light is coming from. I think it's fine. And this is nice because it's giving, it's putting some of that light, it's giving some of this area like highlight, and that brings attention to that spot. It's a very complicated spot and it brings attention to it. The only thing I don't like is how very like rounded that is. So I'm gonna see if if I spread that out, does it look better? Let me see if I can bring in one of these environments to just break up that snowy mountain, snowy hill. I just want to break up this terrain a little bit. It's a little bit too like flat. Yeah, there's no like displacement on this. Let me see if Polyhaven has something I can use. Polyhaven has been good at snow. Yeah, maybe I can throw this on there. Okay, and I might need to subdivide this a bit. Let me save. So I think that's already looking better. I'm gonna subdivide it a little bit, and maybe that will also help, because the Polyhaven materials come with like some subdivisions on them. So that already is like giving us a little bit more detail. And I think I can bring down the scale. Yeah. I think that's working. It feels a little bit dark compared to the rest, but I can just brighten that up. I just kind of increase the brightness a little bit in that texture. It's possible that in this very specific area where we see, yeah, like it's a very narrow area, so I could just probably scale this down and we can get even more detail. Yeah, so I can scale this down quite a lot before it gets like caught off camera. So I think that's even better. So now like when we zoom in and like, you know, you see the shadows, there's a little bit of, it's not perfectly flat. It's a little bit more disturbed. And maybe I'll increase the scale of this. Let's see if that does anything. Yep, that's doing stuff. Okay. Yeah, I think that looks a little bit better. It just like breaks up the terrain. And again, still going to be using a ton of fog in this, so it does not matter. The details, the really small details don't matter too much. Let me make this red. Is that... That does make it look interesting. That makes it look like, hey, everything over here is normal. Something is wrong here. I'll just keep it white, and I'll just lower the intensity of it a bit more. Okay. The only thing is that this building is getting lost, so I'm gonna take one more light and try to like shine it like either here, again off camera, that works. That helps separate this from the background. Or I'm gonna try to do, ooh, that's nice. I actually like that a lot. I'm gonna try to bring it over here and either shine it onto the radar from here, if I can get it to work. If I can't get it to work, then I'll probably do what I did before, or shine it onto this, you know. So there's this kind of like uplighting onto it from here. Like that. And then I'm not sure if that's helping or not. I did kind of like this. This was like an accident, but I liked how that turned out. I like the like radar part thing, like catching the shadow. I like that a lot. Maybe I'll do it here. Bring the spread down. So that's like a flashlight. Let's see if we can art direct that a little bit. I kind of like the snow here, like because we have more variety in the snow, when the light is literally like on the ground and the light is scattering across the ground there, it kind of looks more interesting. So I kind of like this. Again, we're playing with the light off screen, but here I feel like we get more, this is catching a lot of detail. I'm going to take this other light that I placed on the lab and bring it around here to just give us more opportunities to separate it from the radar dish thing. And I'm going to place it where that light already is, so it makes sense. Kind of like that. Only thing I want to see is, can I put it somewhere else? Can I put it like here? If I can put it here, I can then separate this foreground building from this background area. If I can like sneak it up here. What is this? Wait, what is that? Oh, it's like a fence. Okay. I was like, is that supposed to be a door? Did they mess up? No, they didn't mess up. Yeah, kind of putting it there kind of, I don't know, makes sense to me. Maybe if I put it upside down. Kind of looks like maybe they're like inspecting the lights here somehow. Kind of does bring attention to it. Oh, well, hold on. There's kind of this thing here, so maybe I can use that. There's like a something here that looks like a light. Yeah, I'll do that. I'll use that. I'll just make it smaller so then the shadows are sharper, and it looks like they're like doing maintenance or something here. So then that kind of feels like it makes sense. Yeah, and then that brings your eye to that area and helps separate this radar building from the rest. Okay, so I like this. I like the dramatic lights. This light over here doesn't feel as dramatic. I'll either see if I can just make it like a spotlight like that, which kind of makes it more dramatic. And there is some like opportunity for detail, complicated detail being shown off here. Yeah, I like the uplighting thing. Let's see if I can get that here as well. Yeah, I don't know, that kind of that feels like that works. Well, there is a light. Yeah. There's a light here. Cool. I'm like noticing where all the lights are now in the actual model, and if I put an area light there, it like just feels like it makes more sense. Okay, so I'll do that. Might even just do like a straight. Yeah, I kind of want it to be on the door, but I'd want it to bring your eye more in. Oh, that's also red. Huh. Let me try one thing before I call it done. I'm gonna put the light here instead. So see if that makes more sense. All right, that looks kind of cool. I'm gonna keep that. I'm just gonna bring down the intensity of it, so it's not as serious. All right, cool. So I'm gonna go with that, and I'm gonna save that, and then I'm gonna add like a big cube that will give us the volumetrics. So Shift A, add a big old cube. Like so. Everything's inside the cube now. Apply the scale and give this the volume material. Unhook that, add the principled, or add the volume scatter into the volume. So off rip, the density is too high. Bring that density down. All right, now we're getting somewhere. Okay, I'm gonna make it more blue because I want it to feel like snowy, kind of. Mess with the anisotropy. I'm just going with white. Seems to work the best. I'm trying to really bring down the volumetrics of it. Does not need to be that high. Okay, let's see. That looks good, I think. Might bring it like further onto the camera more. I don't know, kind of like I want to have it separate the background. Maybe I'll have two. I'll have one here that kind of like separates these foreground buildings from the dish and the background. Then I'll have another one that's just more here. Yeah, I think that works. I'll take this mountain and I'll bring it even further back. Just to see if I can like get a good silhouette. Oh. Okay, cool. Yeah, this rock is tricky because the dark spots on the rock kind of interfere with the silhouette and add noise there that I don't want. So maybe I'll see if I can stick this either in the background or somewhere else. Like, I don't hate it because I like that it separates the... Maybe I'll just put it back here and bring this forward. Yeah, I'll use this instead to break up the distance between the dish and the thing, and then I'll use this in the background. Yeah, and then we can even decorate the background even more. Yeah, that feels like it works a little bit better. Yeah, okay, that works. So where's that other cube? There it is. All right, so I'm gonna render this out, and this will be the first scene, and then yeah, I'll do probably some color grade just to give it like some of that blue hue, and then I'll just add some like snow effects in post. But yeah, that's it. So thanks for watching me put together the scene. I hope the video wasn't like too long or too boring or anything like that, but I really wanted to make sure you saw my full process, even when I had like hiccups or mistakes, because I think that stuff is like really important to show, especially if you're learning this stuff. I know for me, one thing that I really value is learning like why an artist makes certain decisions, because those really those are moments where you can really learn a lot about artistic choices, why certain things look good, why certain artists lean one way or another, stylistically or creatively. So thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.